There is nothing about that.
Were you here yesterday? You were here yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember if you were prosecution or defense? Because I might have been switched around, but were you? You were defending him? Yeah. Okay. I got defense on this side. Okay. I think you might swap from how I have you guys do it.
You gotta do one of those problems.
Or enlightened. I think you just sent it to me. Yeah, I think I saw an email with his name on it. I didn't go through it though. So hopefully you guys like the great you guys. Yeah. Oh. That's over here. Defense is on this side, prosecution's over there. We're not going to do a normal bell ringer like we do. My bell ringer for you guys is just to get out your papers from yesterday, where you did your evidence gathering, have those out. So we got our papers out. What I would like to do is give us about maybe 10 minutes or see what kind of time we need to go through. We're going to be having our trial today. As you guys know, I don't want you to basically finish anything we need to gather. Talk with each other. Make sure everybody in your team feels good about the argument. Things look good. Make sure we all feel good. And then I'll get into the procedures for how we're going to conduct the trial. So, see us, we got our papers out. Looks like we all did pretty good about gathering evidence yesterday. Just take the time right now to make sure everybody in your group feels good about what they have. Okay? You are missing one of your people.
Yes.
That was Steven. He's missing. Okay. So, what topic was he working on? Do we know? Okay. So, this is why I was trying to get you guys to share what you had. That's why I was trying to get you guys to share what you had, so that way if this didn't happen, we would be missing out that information. So let's take the time now, take a look at topic 5. Try to get that together, and then we can have somebody can either come twice. Help you guys come up however you want to do it. We're trying to look at topic 5 and try to get something together for that. Okay. Yeah, we can come up here. When it's your turn. Okay.
Number 5. Are you doing number 7? I did 7.
Wait, people are going up front?
You're literally going to come up and tell me what you have. It's not like I'm asking you to give me a speech or anything crazy.
It's not like a whole presentation.
Exactly. Could be okay. I'm looking around. It looks like we're pretty ready to go, so I think I'll start. We'll go ahead and kick this off. Okay. I'll take my seat here. And we'll go through the process. I'll tell you guys what we're doing so we know what's going on. So, let's see if we can have this here. Okay, so make sure that looks good. Yep. So now that you guys have had ample time to gather all the evidence that you can, we're going to actually go ahead and start our case and try and determine once and for all if Napoleon continued the revolution as a liberator or if he killed it as a tyrant. So, to kind of break up the instructions so we know what we can expect while we're doing this, we had 9 topics that we went through. We split those up. We're going to go through each of the topics in that same order from 1 to 9. While we go through them, once we're on that topic, we'll start. One person from each side, whoever had that topic they work on, is going to come up to the middle. It doesn't have to be right up front, but as long as you guys are kind of towards your side, but in this middle area. And then you're going to tell me what you have. So you'll first show the question that you had, you'll explain what your answer is, and then you'll tell me how that supports your case. We'll have prosecution go first, then defense goes, and then there will be a period for rebuttal if the prosecution has something else they want to add. I'll make sure we can have something else added in case we want to continue the argument. I will tally based on each topic who has the better argument, and then at the end that's when we'll make our determination of which side was the right side, who had the best argument, and therefore what the ruling will be against Napoleon. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and start with our topic 1. So, France after the Revolution. After the French Revolution, France was not at peace. The Reign of Terror had ended, but the Directory struggled with corruption, economic instability, and ongoing wars. Many of the French citizens were exhausted by the years of violence and uncertainty and chaos. And so the question we're looking at today is, for this topic anyways, whether or not this chaos was justified, whether it justified this dramatic change in leadership of Napoleon taking over the way he did. So, if I could have our people from both sides who are working on topic 1 step up here to the middle. Okay. So, for our prosecution, we'll have you go ahead and start off. Go ahead and read out the question that you had, and then the answer.
Why does chaos not justify abandoning revolutionary ideals?
Okay, and what'd you put?
As all the chaos is happening, he makes himself emperor and starts changing rules and going to war.
Okay, so he takes advantage of the chaos and he does the things he wants to do. Going to war makes himself emperor. That's what we're arguing. How does that help your case? What do we have for that next section?
It shows that he's still acting like a monarch and full power.
Okay, so he's still taking on that monarch power. He's basically used that to make himself a monarch. What about for our defense? Go ahead and start with the question and then tell me what you have for your answer.
How's France unstable before the post-revolutionary war was weak and corrupt, and they failed to solve France's economic crisis. And then I said they supported it. Without a strong leader, the revolution was on the verge of collapsing into total anarchy or being overthrown by returning royals. Napoleon provided stability necessary for the revolution's ideal to actually survive in practice rather than wait.
Okay, so we're arguing on the defense that things were so chaotic, they were so rough, that Napoleon's taking over the way he did was the only thing that could have saved the revolution. There was the risk of the civil wars and the anarchy, like you mentioned. And of course we had the royal armies outside the gates. And so those were kind of used to justify his taking over of the government. Does the prosecution have anything else they would like to say, maybe against that?
No.
I will open up the floor as well to anybody from the prosecution. We're all working kind of as a unit, so if there's anything anybody else would like to add to go against what Bree has said, feel free to speak your piece. We can say our moment now. We don't have anything else? Okay, so we'll go ahead and have you guys go back to your seat, and we'll go ahead and move on to our next topic. Okay, we'll have our prosecution go first. Rajwal, why don't you start with the question, and then tell me how you answered it.
So why was Napoleon's rise anti-revolutionary? That's like he took power and coup d'etat and then made himself emperor, bringing back dictatorship, limited freedom, censorship, control.
Okay, so he took the power, he gave it to himself, he used a military coup to do so. So it wasn't a peaceful thing, but he did take advantage of the vote to kind of continue. And with that, yeah, once he had control, he was using the censorship and the violent tactics to maintain that control. And so that's why we argue that his rise to power was more of a betrayal of the revolutionary ideals. He made himself a dictator, as you mentioned. Okay. And so what does the defense have to say to that?
Why did many French leaders support Napoleon's takeover? I said because many French people supported Napoleon because they were tired of the chaos and instability. And then it shows that people were willing to go to a strong leader.
Okay, let's have our prosecution start.
It was who lost rights under the Napoleonic Code, and why did that matter? My evidence was women lost much of their newly gained rights and could not exercise the rights of citizenship.
Okay. Was there another group that lost rights that they had before? No idea. Anybody from the prosecution want to help? We talked about how women had lost rights that they were gaining. Was there another group that also lost rights that they had? Or could you say that a little bit louder? Okay, so we talked about some of the Catholic Church. We'll continue on to the next topic when we get back from lunch. Good job, guys. Yeah, you'll be next when we get back. Okay, welcome back, guys. So, we finished topic 5 right as we went to lunch. So we're going to come back and we're going to talk about topic 6. All right, so topic 6 is going to be on the expansion and warfare. France fought almost continuously during Napoleon's rule, facing coalitions of European monarchies. So let's go ahead and start with our prosecution.
My question was, how did Napoleon's wars betray the revolution?
Okay. Kind of like the way you turn. If you make sure, try and talk to the prosecution as well as me. I like that, talking to each other. That way everybody can hear us nicely. Okay, so prosecution. Start with the question, and then continue on with what you got.
How did Napoleon?
Good job, ladies. Go ahead and return to our seats. So, we've looked through these topics, and now it is time for us to get to the final judgment, final verdict. And so we had a lot of good arguments put forward. This was very close. But based off of how we got through each of the topics, after looking at all 9 of them, I'm going to have to side with the prosecution on this one, that he ended the revolution as a tyrant. That being said, you all did really well. You brought forward your evidence. In some cases, you defended it. It was really nice seeing you guys bring forward what you had learned, talk about these topics. And so you all did a great job. And so what I would like to do now is I'd like for us to go on to Schoology. I have an assignment posted that is our reflection or a debrief. You're going to go through and you're going to answer the questions, same ones that are located here behind me. They're in a document. We'll go through and answer those questions. And if we have time, we will discuss these questions as a class. But for now, go ahead into Schoology and answer the questions in that document.
To prove that.
So the way I did it was I basically went by topics, and I would check who had the better argument. And so it really was just a matter of how effectively you argue. When somebody would bring up a new point, could you defend against that? That kind of thing is what I was looking out for.
So I kind of made a routine with these, and that's my arguments.
A little bit. You definitely helped. Okay, I'm going to give you guys about 5 more minutes to wrap these up, and then we're going to go ahead and talk about it. Is anybody still working on this? Are we all finished with the reflection of the theory? Okay, so I'm assuming that means we're all done. So let's go ahead and close our computers. I'd like to have a discussion as a class about this. This wasn't a question that was in the debrief, but I just kind of wanted to ask you guys what you thought of this trial, debate, whatever you might want to call it. It's the first time we as a class have done anything like this, so is this something we feel like we'd be interested in trying to do with other things maybe?
Absolutely.
Trying to argue? Absolutely
Yeah,
not.
I would love to, Mr. Concan, that was so fun.
I'd love to take that side again.
I would love to take the
What didn't you like about it? Was it the getting up and the talking to the class?
Yes.
Okay.
If you should do it sitting down, I wouldn't mind.
So,
You just don't want to stand up.
I would.
We beat
you.
I don't want to talk about it.
first off,
We just
That-
get to pick our side.
that isn't the most important thing either.
We beat you, we didn't even get to pick our
Why?
side.
Do you have something you want to say?
I think it's better because we're not like sitting home just taking notes all day.
Right. So,
Engaging.
so what are some ways we could make this a bit more interesting, something that we'd be more willing to participate? I know you were talking about having to stay in the seats. Is that like just not standing up in front of the class? Is that what it is?
I don't care.
I'm cool by staying.
Okay. So what if we did it where we set it up like, have you guys ever done like a Socratic seminar in any of your classes? Or anything like that? Have we ever done it?
Please don't make
I'm not saying we're doing one of those. I'm just saying, have we ever, you know that seating arrangement
I hate
that you
that.
usually do? You hate the seating arrangement?
Yes, because then you have to talk like one at a time and it's like so embarrassing.
Well, so
I didn't even do it when we had a Socratic
the way I would do it would be,
I guess
the way I would try to do something like that is it would be similar like this, where we each have a topic we're working on, and then we kind of go topic by topic, and we have one person share one side. It'd be kind of the same way. I might turn it more into a debate style thing than a trial. The trial was just, I thought that was good, especially in the context of the video we had watched with that. We're putting Napoleon on trial. But if we do something like this before, it's probably going to be a lot more like a debate. So maybe we'd have our sides, maybe I'd even have us facing each other. And then, we could say from where we're at there and work on that, try and make an argument, go one by one instead of it set up here like a trial. Does that sound like, then I know you said you hated this, you did not like the way it was set up, so does that sound like that would be a little better if we're not getting up front of the class for doing this? We're just, okay. Why do we think it's important to understand and try to argue both sides of something, even if it's, not our own viewpoint? Why might we think it's important to be able to argue both sides? And we all said we were finished. We answered that question. Does anybody want to tell me what they have? What they put down?
Different things.
What's that? Sorry.
They both had different effects on things that are important.
Okay, so you're learning about the impacts of the same issue from two different sides. Why?
Because you'll look at like two sides of an action or decision. You can't see the benefits or the kind of the pros and the cons. If you look at it one side, you might only see one or the other.
Right. Which in this class we don't do as much, when you talk about politics, it seems to be the big one where people tend to be very polarized. But when you have a side that you understand that you take as your own viewpoint, it's good to be able to understand and even be able to argue the side that you might not agree with, because that helps you understand it better. You know what the other side is thinking. It's not just my way is the right way. You have an idea of how the other way could be right for someone else. And so that's why I think it's important for us to be able to do stuff, to take a viewpoint that might not be our own and still be able to understand and argue it. After today, I'm sure with a lot of these topics, we could take on either side. I could have us flip-flop with maybe a new set of questions, and we'd be able to do it for the other side completely, because we're able to see how other people argued it. So, before the end of the semester, and I'll try and take some of your feedback and try to make it something that we might be a little more interested in, might do a little better for us. This was a great first try at this. I think you guys handled it really well. I think we've got some good ideas on how not only I can improve it, but also we as students can improve it. We need to do before we do something like this. So, you guys did good. Now, I know